What is drip irrigation, and why is it becoming so popular? Drip irrigation applies water very slowly, a drip at a time. This allows the water to slowly enter the soil, where you want it, without running off or blowing away. The problem with drip irrigation is that people think they can place 1 or 2 emitters by a plant and expect the plant to grow normally for many years. This placement of 1 to several emitters per plant is called point source drip irrigation. When a plant is first planted in the soil and a couple of drip emitters are added, the roots will grow where there is moisture. Over time, the roots will likely fill in the wetted area. Remember, plant roots do not search for water. Therefore, the roots will not grow beyond the wetted area. However, 2 things start to happen over time. First, if the plant is watered too frequently, the area can become supersaturated, sometimes to the point of choking the soil of gaseous oxygen that the plant roots need. Second, in order for a plant to grow larger, its roots must have room to grow. If the wetted area remains the same, the root growing area remains the same. So, it is like growing your plant in a pot. The plant will never reach mature size. These problems can be seen in the landscape where the shrubs and trees are irrigated with 1 or 2 emitters each. Over time, the landscape will die out. What is the solution? Drip irrigation is an efficient way of applying water, but the quantity of drip emitters must increase to stay ahead of root growth as the plant grows. This can be accomplished by adding more emitters to each plant, or by adding, or initially starting with, a grid layout of emitters. Check out the table, number of emitters per plant, to get an idea of the number of emitters you will need. Why do we need to irrigate? To provide water to plants when rainfall is not enough. Drip irrigation is not like rainfall. It concentrates water in specific areas. If drip irrigation is applied too frequently, it can cause shallow rooting and rot. It needs to be applied infrequently, but in a long enough duration to give the rooting area a good soaking. Did you know that trees and shrubs can root 1.5 to 3 feet deep? Since drip irrigation is typically used to irrigate shrubs and trees, longer watering times will be needed to water these deeper levels. But the frequency of watering should be no more than once a week when it is really hot in the summer, and little to no irrigation in the winter. New plantings will need more frequent irrigation. The goal is to soak the rooting area and a little beyond. Then, let the soil dry down somewhat between soakings. How do you know how long to water to get that deep soak? There are a lot of variables with drip irrigation, including emitter flow rate and soil type. A row of shrubs can be easily irrigated with 1 or 2 strips of drip line. Single trees or large trees will require lots of emitters. See the table, number of emitters per plant. Note that the optimal location to water tree roots is a few feet away from the trunk to several feet beyond the canopy. Here's an example. If a tree or shrub is rooted 2 feet deep and you are going to use 1 gallon per hour drip emitters, spaced 12 inches apart, and the tubing spaced 18 inches apart, then you will need to water about 2 hours if you have a heavy clay soil. If you have a sandy soil, you will only need to water 1 hour. Will having a clay soil need twice as much water as a sandy soil? No, because the sandy soil drains fast, it will need more frequent watering compared to the clay soil. Clay soil can stay wet for many days or even weeks. Don't overwater. Use a moisture meter to see the moisture level of your soil.